And I had been on a very spiritual path prior to this, and I had learned we're all one, but never experienced we're all one. And that is the thing I am most grateful for out of my life thus far. That experience of real unity. At the time, I was in medical school, and a lot of that was to satisfy my family. They sacrificed a lot to get me there. My mother had passed away when I was young. I was 9 years old, so I was raised by a single dad. There was a tragedy in my family. My father completed suicide, and my whole house of cards came tumbling down. I really felt utterly abandoned and angry. And at that point, it was like the abscess broke open inside of me. In that story of my childhood, I had moved approximately every 2 to 3 years. What really helped me to understand that there was something wrong, I think, was this incapacitating flood of grief. And that asked me to examine, why did my dad choose to end his life? Now, I'm a psychiatrist at this point, and I really wanted to understand his process. I wanted to understand. I was first exposed to psychedelics pretty early on, and I knew they were meaningful as soon as I first experienced them. So I was probably 12 years old. So I knew they were useful. I knew they were special. And now I recognize their healing potential on a whole nother level. When I felt called to do ayahuasca, I was looking to understand my father's choice to commit suicide. But I was looking to overcome my anger and to understand where he was. The experience that I'm going to talk to you about is my experience of being called to drink ayahuasca. So I was following the signs that very clearly led me there. And, dates worked out, timing worked out, and so I went. Anyway, we got to our retreat center right at sunset, and it was time to go. We sat around in our malacca and set our intention and drank ayahuasca, and here we go. And just suddenly start to feel wisdom. There's a way that I know I feel when I'm in nature and I'm tapped in, I'm really present, and you can see the order in things, that form is there because of function and vice versa. It all makes sense. And that's really how the medicine started to feel. Like there was this intelligence and love. And, I had heard some scary stories about, and I said, I really don't want a scary, bad trip right now. I just need to be held because of this loss of my father. And it was so much more than just the loss of my father. And at that point was when I started to feel, oh, that's just the most recent top layer of trauma. Actually, all of this underneath is my own. And it opened up, and I was just held like in the lap of Mother Nature. I know that it's good for us to go into nature, but to take nature into us is the next level of immersion in it. And this unity became crystal clear. At some point, I was just so happy and excited and celebrating life, and on some level aware down to every little cell, all the way out to every star, and it all felt like this superimposed kind of fractal, right? The same shape at many different levels, micro and macro, and it all is one, and it's all beautiful and makes sense and feels great, and I'm just a part of it, and I'm celebrating so much. All these little critters start coming like onto my yoga mat. So there's rats running onto my mat. There's some other thing like scuttling around, and it's completely pitch black, so I don't exactly know, but I kind of know. And then I start to tap into my authority, my ability to set boundaries. And I said, you know what? Thank you for celebrating, but just not on my mat. Don't come on my mat anymore, rats. And they stopped. And I said, oh, wow, this is really cool. This works. The shaman came around and started singing and sang right in front of me at this point. And I thought about my body, my cells, my skull being this seemingly hard object because the song stopped here. And when I thought about the kind of atomic structure, right, we're mostly empty space, I said, oh, my skull is permeable. I can let this song in. And as soon as I let this song in, poof, he stopped singing, and I became God, is the best word I have for it. Everything went silent, and it just felt unified with all that is. An absolute peak experience, and that's what I had never had before. And I had been on a very spiritual path prior to this, and I had learned we're all one, but never experienced we're all one. And that is the thing I am most grateful for out of my life thus far. That experience of real unity. The following night, we were supposed to drink every other night for a period of time. But after that first one, and I had reached that place, I didn't think I needed ayahuasca anymore. So the next night, the next 2 nights from, we all gathered in the Malacca and sat around and did our thing. And I said, I'm just going to meditate because I know now where I was trying to go in my meditation all this time. And now I've been there, I can just go there again. So I just sat and meditated. And what I took away from that, and this is part of my insight from my whole experience, was that I was asking the wrong question. My question and intention for going down and trying ayahuasca was the wrong question. I did not need to or want to know what my father's experience was. Whatever that was his, between him and his creator. And those agreements weren't for me. And so stay in my own lane. And that's been a real gift and a big takeaway from that experience in a lot of ways. It was hard to come by, but very valuable. Yeah, how did I integrate this experience? I think journaling was important. Talking to people, I tend to talk out loud and integrate process through talking. I traveled and continued to learn and share what I was learning from different cultures, healing techniques, and just, this identity of being a citizen of the world became real for me. And eventually, as that healed me, I started to bring patients along with me and created a global adventure travel therapy company. And just followed along with the psychedelic literature and really used those insights as far as, even simple things, just shifting my body, that works. The integration is absolutely critical. Writing down stories and revisiting them and putting into practices immediately some of the things that came to you are really important for locking them into, actually it's like a staircase, right? And your peak experience, you go up and you take a look, but if you don't integrate those practices, then you don't experience that next plateau. It just goes back down to where you've been before, right? So and you're not going to live in a peak experience, but the privilege of having that as a preview of where you may be heading even in your meditation or in your life, is very valuable if you apply those insights.